Good morning. This is Marcus, a private pilot student. Today we're about to do some solo practice work. We're going to take the Cessna 172 out to the practice area, do some basic maneuvers, use VOR for tracking my exact location. I know all you young guys like to use a GPS or if you have access to a Garmin 1000 to use those glass cockpit screens. But I find it really interesting to use the old steam gauges. It's a good practice in case you ever get stuck somewhere. Alright, so to start this video, what we've done is we've already done our walk around for the airplane. Everything is good. All systems are go as far as the outside. We're doing all the stuff on the inside. I just turned on my avionics, so now I can hear. This portion shows us getting ready to taxi out to the taxiway Alpha. We're right now at the Mark Air ramp of Alliance Fort Worth Airport. The winds are calm. They're eight knots from 300. We've already grabbed the ATIS information. We have it. That particular time it was information alpha. We're going to the hold short line for the taxiway alpha. They will give us clearance for taxi to alpha to the south end of alpha for a run up. We're going to hold short of 34 right. 34 right is closed at the moment. It's because they had a FedEx plane come in hard and cause some damage to the concrete. So while it's being repaired, the damage, they're having only the runway for 34 left open. So eventually we'll have to taxi over 34 right and to 34 left. But we're about to get going. I've edited the video to where it doesn't include all the needless taxiing and stuff like that. There'll be a brief segment of each portion. Once we take off, our initial cruising altitude was 2,000. Then I eventually get to 3,500 MSL. We were going to do some steep turns, some slow flight, and then I'll show you coming back. We'll touch base on some of these areas. Alright, so we're going to taxi out. Like I said, the video will clip out for a second. It's going to come back with the taxiing to the south end of Alpha. And then we'll do our run up. As we line up on the taxiway line, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. If you would like and share it. Subscribe if you would like. It's appreciated. It supports a student pilot. Any comments, questions, concerns, or anything you'd like to see in the future, feel free to let me know. I'm always up for trying something different. So here we are. We're coming up onto the south end of Alpha. 3-4 right is to our right, just on the other side of that runway hold short line. When you do a run up in these little aircraft, you do it with into the head winds. Winds are from 300, so we're going to be kind of a northern west heading. After the run up is complete, we go and we'll taxi to the runway hold short line. At that point, ground has to give us clearance to cross that line. And like I said, that I've done some editing of this video, like the run up. It's kind of redundant, especially for me. If you want to see it, I do have the full video on there. Just a warning, the full videos are long. They are from start to finish. I will do a synopsis of each of these videos, and you'll be able to find them via the date range. Let's see here. So We're requesting clearance to cross. They know that we're holding short of 3-4 right. Uh, we want to get over to 3-4 left so we can do a northwest departure. From time to time in this video, you'll see a little green light on my panel. It's kind of on the center to the bottom top, it's our top right portion of the dash, or windscreen for some pilots would know it as, the windscreen. The compass is the thing that's on my dash that's right in between. The compass, is the wet version of a magnetic compass. The aircraft actually has the compass inside the dash that the autopilot and all the instruments relate to. You use that wet compass on the dash to confirm that everything is correct. From time to time, you might need to do minor corrections. So I've been cleared for takeoff for 3-4 left with the northwest departure. Like I said, we're going out to the practice field. It's towards Decatur. And at this point, we're going to go full power. Have to apply a little more right rudder pressure to compensate for that torque. I get a little off center, and that's, I said, I have to apply more right rudder. And during the climb out, the aircraft does very well. Temperatures are cold. Aircraft responds well to those cold, dry temperatures. Engine performance is good. All my gauges were green. And in the event that we were to have a power failure, then we would, if we were under 1,000 feet, we'd land straight ahead. If we're over 1,000 feet, we'll, if we have room, we will double back and do a 180. If not, we'll find the best suitable airfield. So as we climb, we are starting to get ready to start our turn. Alliance Tower hasn't given us clearance to leave their frequency, so we're still monitoring the tower. So anybody that hasn't flown a little airplane, they are a lot of fun. I think you get bucked around a little bit more than you would in a big aircraft, simply because it's a lighter aircraft. The winds tend to push it around a bit more. But when you're not sitting at traffic lights and stuff, you get to thinking, you're flying above all the traffic, you fly above all the traffic lights, you have a path of where it is that you want to go. You get to do a straight line. It's a very interesting way to get from one place to another. So in the first maneuver that we're going to try, once we get to this section here, which we're coming up on, I'm going to do a steep turn. We're going to do a steep turn to the right. I always do my clearing turns, which means you bank to the left, you bank to the right, you check for any traffic. When you are doing a steep turn, you bank the aircraft to a 45 degree, and you maintain that bank using your rudder, which is your foot pedals. So right now we're at 3,500 feet. And I'm doing my clearing turns. And once I feel that the aircraft is set up the way I want it to perform, I will enter the maneuver. Now, for those of you who are wondering, that's 287 just below me. You can see it there to my left-hand side of the bottom of the screen. Straight ahead is Decatur. If you take 287 and go through Decatur, it'll take you all the way up through Bowie and so forth. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set the aircraft up on that 45-degree bank using just my sight picture, which means if you see the ground, the horizon, you know, there's a certain angle that you want to see it at, and that's the 45-degree bank right there. And what I'm trying to do is get better with rudder control and using your rudder to maintain that bank. If you have the power set right and you have proper use of your rudder, you should be able to maintain that bank with very little to no corrections with the ailerons. In fact, you should be able to let go of your ailerons and the airplane should still stay in that attitude, using only your rudder to control that bank. I got a little bit out of the 45 degree, got a little shallow, but like I said, this is just a solo practice flight. It's not my check ride, so I'm just trying to keep the aircraft under control, maintain a steady flight, and maintain proper rudder control. Rudder control is very important in aircraft flight. It controls the yaw and basically helps your passengers don't get sick. This next maneuver that's going to come up is going to be slow flight. In a slow flight maneuver, what you're looking to do is get to the aircraft where it is still flying, but you're at a near stall. It simulates like you're coming in for a landing. Now the portion that I didn't include because of time restraints was the portion of the actual stall during slow flight. I do have other videos that include stalls. If you want to watch them, that's up to you. But in this one, I'm just going to show you a slow flight. So at this point, if I was to keep going, I'm about 5 miles south of Decatur Airport. I could go in and land, but we'll save that for another video. In one of my videos called the first solo, that's where I did do my 3 touch and goes. It was actually 3 touch landing, full stops, and goes. I did the very first solo there, indicator. That's KLUD for anybody who's wondering. And it was a very memorable moment. Alright, so right here we've started to do our slow flight. I'll drop the flaps once the aircraft slows down, which I have already reached over and hit the flaps. And right now we are right about the 55 knot speed wind speed, sorry. And the stall horn is sounding off a little bit. It just means that I'm going into a stall condition. I kept the aircraft above that stall condition for this portion of the video. Recovery basically is you lower the nose down, you gain your airspeed, and you return back into cruise flight mode. 2200 RPMs, maintaining steady flight. And then because of time constraints, I did cut out the portion getting back to Alliance. This right here is on my final leg. It's called final. I'm landing for 3-4 left. The aircraft is set up with 10 degrees flaps. I want to maintain at least 70 to 75 knots at this portion. You don't want to gain too much airspeed. More airspeed you have when you actually get to your landing, the further you will float. So, you know, it's a trade-off. You're going to have a short landing. You want to have as little airspeed as possible. If you have room to land, you can always land with more airspace or airspeed. Okay, and here I just dropped to 20 degrees flaps. And what that's going to do is, as you can see, I just started to descend quicker. It's a steeper descent. Now you want to touch down past those that line, and you know, in a short field landing, you would land as short as possible. In this case, I was able to land, and I was able to exit the first departure point. I'm crossing the runway hold short line. I've already been given permission to cross the 3-4 right. Once we get on the other side of the 3-4 rights hold short line, at that point we'll contact ground. Ground will give us clearance to taxi back. So right here I come to a full stop, and I'll do my after landing checklist, which basically turn on the landing light, drop the turn off the landing light, turn on the taxi light, and then you raise your flaps and you get clearance to taxi back. I'm on my way back, and my instructor, you'll see him in the video, he'll line me up and tell me where to stop. He was out doing touch and goes with his other student pilot. They stayed there at Alliance. So this is my one of my solo practice videos. If you did enjoy it, please like and share it. Subscribe. Put any comments you have of it in there. I'm always looking forward to seeing comments on my videos. If there's something in there that you want to see, feel free to give me a message, and I will get back to you as soon as I can about adding a video that might show something that you want to see. Thank you, and have a good one.